What's up, guys? It's Benny. You ever screwed up a situation royally and realize that you're your own worst enemy? It happens to all of us. It's okay, don't feel bad. But there's a reason why that saying is so popular, is that sometimes you just can't get out of your own way and you make a bad situation worse. This is what the Trump administration is doing with Epstein. You don't have to keep taking the L. There's a way out. But they keep doubling down on the trust us, we looked into it, bro. We're good. Move on. Doesn't work anymore. That's not the world that we live in. And the more that you do it, the more you call the Streisand effect down upon your own head and upon your own house. The Streisand effect, of course, is when Barbara Streisand freaked out and said, don't post pictures of my house. I'll sue you. It's like everyone's going to post a picture of their house and want to look at it. And the Trump administration is doing that right now. Take, Jeffrey Epstein completely off the table, right? Let's just say this is a political loser for the Trump administration. Why the hell would you release it like this to a left-wing reporter at a left-wing outlet, Axios? Like, even the rollout is insane and clunky and dumb. Like, they dropped this after a wonderful 4th of July weekend where Donald Trump had win after win after win, and that's how they cap off the weekend, by releasing this at 9 p.m. at night? It doesn't make any sense on a Sunday. It's like designed for failure, and then the release itself was just fraught with errors, as a reporter asked at the White House today. You released a video from Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell, and it was missing minutes of footage.
Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the stabbing?
Yeah, sure. If I could...
So hold on just a second. I want to break this down. So what he means by this is, in the release of this memo, there was a link to 11 hours of prison footage proving that Jeffrey Epstein definitely 100% killed himself. Yet even in that footage, there's missing minutes, right? This is the entry door to the actual maximum security prison here in Manhattan. You can see here that you miss a full minute, and then the camera jumps and the aperture changes. It's very strange. Like, did anybody decide to ever explain that? Here's Pam Bondi's explanation.
Sure.
Before President Trump interrupts her and says, stop talking about Epstein.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
Okay, so they go on and on. What's important here is that Pam Bondi gives a very strange explanation about the prison security camera system being old, and that it needs a minute to reset every single night, which doesn't seem very secure to me. Remember, the cameras went out in Jeffrey Epstein's prison floor. The guards fell asleep. The whole thing's a nightmare. The whole thing's a mess. And it's very easy to call out some of the lies. Here we go. Today, Pam Bondi lied and said the U.S. government has no knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein being a spy or an agent of an intel agency. This is a lie. FBI documents from 2008 prove that Epstein provided information for the FBI as agreed upon. Epstein was an agent with the FBI, which is indeed an intelligence agency. And then she drops these receipts right here. Epstein provided information to the FBI as agreed upon. Cases advised no federal prosecution. We also know that Epstein belonged to intelligence, as Alex Acosta famously said. Lost his job for saying that in the first Trump administration. Crazy stuff. Even on our program, Alan Dershowitz saying that he definitely could have been a Mossad agent or working with Mossad. So, why are we asking these questions and the DOJ isn't asking these questions? Doesn't have an answer to these questions? Or they do have the answer and they're not telling us? It's very strange. It's very odd. And of course, nobody's buying it. And that's the real problem for the Trump administration. Nobody's buying this. Now, everyone's made a joke about this prison tier video, the missing minute, right? And, it's funny, and there's plenty of memes who was actually there. But it's good. It would be nice to, actually get maybe a breakdown of this video. You're not missing anything. All you're seeing, all the video is 11 hours, pretty much of this shot. Some people during the 11 hours, pass through or come in and out. But what exactly are we looking at here? We found this account that does a remarkable breakdown of what we are actually looking at with maps and diagrams inside of this video, and how the feds are lying again about what they have released. We find it so enraging because in their original release, they don't explain any of this. It's so insulting to the American people because, people really do care about this. We care if our leaders killed a guy who had blackmail on them, if they were part of an elite predator ring. And if that isn't the case, fine, you need to explain your work to us and put it out of our minds. In fact, the way that it's being handled is doing the exact opposite. This is a great breakdown of why this video is garbage. Listen, here's a 5-minute clip of the CCTV camera from inside the special housing unit floor of the Jeffrey Epstein was held on the night he killed himself. It's posted in 2 versions on the DOJ website. This is the enhanced version. Okay, what exactly are we looking at? See here is a photo of actual Jeffrey Epstein's cell. First thing we need to understand is how the special housing unit is distributed. Each floor has 6 boxes or cell blocks that contain 8 cells each. These cell blocks are stacked on top of each other, so you have 3 upper cell blocks and 3 lower cell blocks. Epstein was held in cell 220, marked with the letter L right here, okay, on the L cell block. In the red diagram, this is where Jeffrey Epstein was held. This was his cell. You can see here that it's actually really close. It's a maximum security cell because it's held very close to the guard, where the guard is. Okay, but anyway, let's continue. If you stand in front of the cell block's gate entrance, you can see both the secured doors to the cells on both sides and one utility pair between them. The rationale is that those non-secured doors between the cells has easy access to plumbing and electrical to maintenance the cells. You can see that the secured doors have vertical peak windows and handcuffing slot and a food tray slot and secured hinges. Okay, right here. This would be Epstein's cell off screen, cell door, normal cell door, and a crawl space in between the cells. Okay. Got it. So pretty standard prison cell block. For further clarity, this is the view from the observation floor of the floor. You are a prison guard sitting at your desk, and you can see simultaneously all cell block entrances, both upper and lower. In the picture, the L-tier cell block where Epstein's cell is directly in front of the security guard, right? So here's the tier, and there's the tier upper and lower. That's how the prison is built. In fact, an officer's station has a unique angle of Epstein's exact cell. Now let's look at the screenshot and the video the DOJ shared. Okay, so again, this is the prison guard desk. This would be Epstein's cell. This would be Epstein's tier, the L tier, right there. You immediately notice that whatever this is not the cell block. Those are not the cell doors. In fact, 10 minutes into the video, each person that comes out of one of those doors is with a trash bin and places it in the middle of the floor. So if it's not a cell block, what the hell are we looking at? The space we're looking at is a common space near the elevators and staircases. I've marked it myself in the diagram below. The red dot is the position of the camera in which the DOJ released the video recorded. It was opposite of the officer's station. In no way could it have seen Epstein's cell block, let alone Epstein's cell. The way to confirm this is a space marked on the schematics in the angle shape of the floor. It matches the angle we can see here in the video. Door marked 46 leads to the main entrance of the entire block, of the entire unit facility, right? So here's where the camera is. Here's where the camera is. This is where Epstein's cell is. This is where the entrance to Epstein's tier block would be. And the camera is looking this direction. Okay, so what does that look like? Let's see right here. So it's definitely, whatever it is, it's definitely not on Epstein's cell. If you look a little bit closer at the DOJ footage, you can see the officer's station on the far end. Zooming in, you can see some teeth that seem to pop up on the right. Those are staircases right here, right there. Those are staircases. This is the only thing we can remotely see in the direction of Epstein's cell block. This sliver of a staircase. Anybody could have gone up and down the staircases without being seen by the camera. Now it's important, gate 46 is the only way into or out of the entire floor, all right? So we have 11 hours of footage throughout the night. So that must prove that nobody exited or entered the floor, right? Well, I'm going to ask the obvious question. How do we know that somebody didn't enter before the DOJ video started? By all measures, you could have just stayed in Epstein's cell block area without being seen. The camera on the far end didn't work after all. You can see here, broken camera. There should be a camera here. That was broken conveniently. You know, you could have just stayed in the utility crawl space. You know, you can imagine that somebody could just stay there and then kill Epstein, right? Somebody did go out of the entire floor and then went back in. An officer went out and she came back in. So you can see people that were leaving. So it's not like it's 100%. It's not like there was nobody coming in or out, and it certainly doesn't show Epstein coming in or out. Why don't we see that? Why isn't that in the footage? So people did, in fact, come in and out. Maybe it's the guards who fell asleep, right? Right. Okay. There you go. Another officer gets out a couple minutes after midnight. Then the big fella gets in at 12:06. Then from 1 to 2:30, the officers must have dozed off because one was sitting with his head back without moving for that period of time. Okay. We know this. The officer fell asleep quite famously. The female officer goes out again. She comes back in. She goes out again. Comes back in. Okay, this is odd. The video is spliced. This is, again, the missing minute. You can see the frame of the video changes. Right before the splice, some sort of editing software pops up in the upper right-hand corner. Very strange. Pam Bondi says, this is normal. I don't know. At 4:05, the female that I haven't seen going in or out of the whole video goes out. She comes back in. The female officer goes out again and comes back in. So here we go. Whoever the hell this is. What looks like a female with a hoodie goes out at 5:38 a.m. Not even 1 minute later, the male officer goes in. I think at the same time, the male officer, who gets 10 minutes later, does something with a big bag and a trash bin. The hoodie female comes back. There you go. Here's the footage. Here he is taking maybe out the trash. Longer clip. This is the moment they realized Epstein had killed himself. There's a lot more activity in the officer's desk. They're going back and forth. They look distressed in comparison to their body language the rest of the night. Okay. Moments like here, let's just go ahead and watch, shall we? You can see maybe a little more urgency and rapidity in how they move. Okay. Almost like this towned out, there was barely any movement on the floor. The officers had dozed off again, couldn't render the whole clip, so on and so forth. Okay. So, forgot about that to add this. According to the DOJ FBI investigation, the figure in the orange you see escorted by two officers here is Epstein being led to his cell. Goodness. Okay. So, what's going on? Well, it certainly isn't footage that proves conclusively that nobody was within Jeffrey Epstein's cell. It wasn't even video of his cell tier in the video. It just seems like incredibly sloppy. And like the explanation of all of this doesn't make much sense. And they're saying this should be enough to make you shut up forever about it. And I'm saying, no, it just makes you more concerned about what we're actually learning and what we know. It's extremely strange. And you hate to see it because it is very much a litmus test, a Rosetta Stone of the deep state. Like, it needs to be this operation will not go away. It will only compound in interest the more you try to cover it up. So screaming, don't talk about it, don't look at it, is only going to make people look at it harder and come up with these kind of inconsistencies. It's just a matter of fact. All right. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe for the truth. See ya.